Gideon with 300 men that left, I will save you and give the Midianites into your hands. Let all the other men go each to his own place. So Gideon sent the rest of the Israelites to their tents, but kept the 300 who took over the provisions and trumpets of the others. If you will skip down with me to verse 15. When Gideon heard the dream and its interpretation, he worshiped God and returned to the camp of Israel and called out, "Get up." Somebody said, "Get up."
Get up.
This is my translation here. The Lord has given the Midianites camp into your hands, dividing 300 men into 3 companies. He placed the trumpets and empty jars in the hands of all of them with torches inside. He says this, he says, "Watch me," he told them. "Follow my lead." Somebody say, "Watch me."
Watch me.
Follow me. When I get to the edge of the camp, do exactly as I do. These are instructions. Now, how important it is to follow instructions. It says, do exactly as I do. Don't do something ahead of me or behind me, but do it as I do it. When I and all who were with me blow your trumpets from all of the ground the camp, blow your horns. For the Lord and for Gideon. For the Lord and for Gideon. Verse 19, and Gideon, the 300 men with him, reached the edge of the camp at the beginning of the middle watch, just after they had changed the guard. They blew their trumpets, watch this, and broke. Somebody say broke. And broke the jars that were in their hands. And the 3 companies blew the trumpets and smashed the jars, grasping the torches in their hand. The torches, those that will hold fire, in their left hand, and holding in their right hand the trumpets they were to blow. They shouted a sword for the Lord and for Gideon. Last verse 21. While each man held his position around the camp, all of the Midianites ran, crying out as they fled. I want to talk to you real briefly about releasing the fire. Releasing the fire. Will you tell your neighbor, release the fire?
Release the fire.
You might not understand that quite yet, but you will. We are living in a time where the enemy is testing us. He's becoming real bold with us now. He's not taking no shorts. He's not coming at us with no little kitty stuff. He's coming at us with demonic stuff, some strong stuff that we are not able to fight in and of our own strength. The enemy is getting serious with us. I think for some time the enemy has patty caked with us, and you know, because we were so weak in our walk with God that anything can knock us off course. Anything can cause us to lose focus. It don't matter what it was or how it was. Whatever happened, the enemy knew that it would break us down to nothing. Some of us are so weak in our walk that can't nobody say nothing to you. If it's a sign of correction, you can't handle it because you're so weak in your walk. Strong people can take correction and keep it moving. There are some folk who won't be able to be corrected. I know as the pastor of this church, there are certain people that I can say it how I mean it and it be all right. Some people, I gotta put sugar on it. I gotta bake it first. I gotta stir it up. I gotta put some whipped cream on the top and a cherry on top, and then give it to you just like that because you won't understand what I'm actually trying to do. It's not me or Pastor Torrey trying to be mean. It's that we have seen church jack up for so long it won't be here. But we can't do that. We can't do that. So what has happened now, we have all gotten into this shell where can't nobody say nothing to us and we don't want to say nothing to them. You know, we are so easily offended in this hour, but I want to give you this word from the Lord. You better suck it up, baby, because there is going to be a time when God is going to need you, and he is going to need you to talk to the very people that would have offended you. I'm not talking about nothing that I don't know. I'm testifying right now that there are some people along the way have offended me, and God said, now go give them a prophetic word. But because I was who I was unable to give them a word because I was in myself. Somebody said, get out of yourself.
Get out of yourself.
Yeah, get out of yourself. You got to get out of yourself. You got to get out of your flesh and your selfish ways and see what God is trying to do in the midst of the people. I know God told me he can trust me with his word, but there are some people that he told me to go to. I said, well, can I write them?
My God.
Can I write them? Can our students sign language? Do I I really have to, can I text them? They don't like me either, so they probably changed their number. The reality is that everybody just won't understand what God is doing inside of you. So it's best that you pick yourself up and say, I know you didn't mean it, but you know, I'm in a place right now. Some of us are in a sensitive place right now where if anything go wrong, it's going to break us. Not because we're sensitive, but because we have been through so much hell going up to this point that we can't take nothing else. I can't take another dramatic thing in my life because it might break me down. Am I talking to anybody in here that if one more thing break, I might just lose my mind? But I want you to know that God is trying to get you to release the fire.
Come on.
My God, this word is awesome.
We're walking in grace and mercy
Come
in
on,
this hour. We're walking in an hour now where God's grace is actually what's keeping us. Matter of fact, and I say this all the time because I'm just real. Some of y'all think y'all can walk around and speak in tongues all day and it be just that. But there comes a time where you don't want to speak in nobody's tongues. And you don't want to be bothered with the saints. Sometimes you just want to close your door and just be who you are. I'm not talking to anybody out here. See, we got some super spiritual people that always feel like they got to pray. And always, you know, sometimes I get in myself and I don't feel like praying. Because there is a human side of me that causes me to react to certain situations. That's my emotional state. That's why Paul said, he said, there is no good thing in my flesh, but watch this. He said, when I want to do good, the evil is always present. He said, every time I want to do right, it seems like I do wrong. It seems like it's easier for me to do wrong than it is for me to, because sin is natural. Sin is a natural state. You were born into sin. You have mastered sin. But righteous living is where the struggle comes in. Because I gotta learn how to be delivered. I gotta learn how to stay delivered. I gotta learn how to surround myself with folk who are delivered. Yeah. I have to reshape my thought process. I gotta think differently now. And while I'm trying to get there, it seems like I'm going into a place of isolation where nobody wants to hang out with me no more. And we get into the woe is me state because people don't understand me. They don't even know I love you, but you know I really don't have time for you. You know, there's kind of those things. I want you to know I love you, but you're bringing me down to a side that I never thought I'd see again. God brought me up out of bed and He changed my size now. I just don't fit with you anymore. You tell your neighbor I just don't fit no more. Don't be offended. It's just at some point I got a little bigger. And the stuff that used to cause me to fit in, I don't fit in no more. The places I used to go, I don't go no more. The people I used to see, I don't see no more. Because I've been changed by the blood of the Lamb. It's in my natural self. I get down and out. But what God is trying to do is He's trying to cause me to release.
My God.
Release the fire. It might not make sense, but it will. After a while, it seems like my body will never be healed from this. It seems like when we deal with wounds, it's harder for us to deal with wounds covered up.
Amen. Jesus.
This is good to me. I had to pause because God just gave me. I'm sorry, I had to receive that in my spirit. It's hard to deal with wounds covered up. And they actually tell you the best way to get healed from a wound is to give it exposure. Come on.
That's right. Hallelujah.
See, what happens is because we are not giving any air to our situation. And and we keep trying to hide the reality of our situations, we're not actually being free from our situations. What we're doing is we're putting band-aids on it and not giving it an air. Did you know your wounds need an air? Sometimes you need to just get out the fact that I'm angry. Sometimes you need to get in the fact that you know what, yes, I'm saved, but I am human also. And if it had not been for the blood of Jesus, I would have told you something. You better be glad I'm walking away, because if I have one more minute. I had just one moment I say how I meant it, but the Holy Ghost came in and messed me all up, because when I wanted to tell you how I feel, the Holy Ghost rose in me and he caused me to say, you know what, I love you still. And I be like, wait a minute, I didn't mean to say that. I wanted to say what I really felt. But then every time I got able to say something else, the Lord opened my mouth and said, say what I say. And I looked at them and said, you know what? I know why you don't like me, because you don't like yourself. But I'm going to pray for you that your faith will fail you not. You mean to tell me when I want to do wrong, God will step in and turn the situation around? You mean when I want to go in my flesh, the Holy Ghost will rise up in me? That's why the Bible says to submit to God. But before he said submit to God, he said resist the devil. Then submit to God, and he will free. Some of us are resisting the devil and we're not submitted to God, and you want to know why you're not getting no results. Why it seems like my situation ain't changed. And you know, we get ignorant. And we just get ignorant. God, I guess if you ain't gonna come through, I know you're able. I'm talking. God, I know you can do it. But if you don't do it, I'll be all right. We get into this woe is me stick. You know, I'm the victim and not the victor. I'm the one that's always down and nobody's able to pick me up. We're looking for somebody like Peter to come along and say, pick up your bed and walk. So we run from the prophet to the prophetess, and we run to the people that say they're the prophet and they ain't even got a word. But every time we go, we're looking for them to say something to confirm our situation, to confirm the mess that we're in. Watch this. When you are really seeking God, you are aggravated by the people that feel the need to speak into your life. Me and my wife got to a point when we didn't even run to the prophets no more. We don't go to the Bibles no more. No, we're not going, because God is speaking to our spirit, and we don't want you to confuse what God is speaking to us. Because the minute you say something different from what we received, we might take what you said and it be that. But I'm trying to help you in here that when you're really trying to get God and get a word from God, you got to close your door and you got to stay in your house. You got to pray and seek the face of God. You got to fast. You got to open up your mouth to God and say, God, don't speak to me through nobody else. You can speak to me like you speak to Moses. You can speak to me like you spoke to Abraham. I'm going to fight you like Jacob did. And I'm not going to let you go until you bless me. Until you give me what I paid for. I dare to slap your neighbor high five and say, God's going to give me what I came for. Not another day. Do I want you to walk in the house of God without something on your heart? I don't ever want you to come in just, well, I'm here. I don't know why I'm here. I'm just here. No, I want you to come to church on purpose. I want you to get dressed on purpose. I don't want it to be a mistake that you walk past the building and you came on up in here. Because what God is trying to do is release the fire. I want to get to the text so I can let you go. The Bible reads this. It says, Gideon and the 100 men with him, because they split up in threes. It was 300, but Gideon had 100. reached the edge of the camp of the Midianites at the beginning of the middle watch, just after they had changed the guard. They blew the trumpets and broke something. The Bible says that they broke some jars.
My God.
Jars.
My God.
If you go over in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, it talks about us having a treasure in earthen vessels or earthen jars. It says something like that. The excellency of the power may be of God and not of us. That means then there is something hidden in these earthen vessels or these jars that are formed. We read about the same token that God making jars or clays as a potter in Jeremiah chapter 18. The understanding is that these jars are significant. Everything in the Bible is significant. Don't ignore any part of the Bible because God can speak to you through anything. Amen. That's just a quick Bible study lesson that, sometimes we get the Chronicles and it's the history and he begat he and he begot this one and he begot that one and we ignore those stories. I need you to go back to them and I need you to go back and I need you to look at those names and what they mean and where they come from, because what happens is you will understand the curses and the generational stuff that, okay, all right, I'm teaching. That's all right.
That's good, Jesus. Yes.
And it said the three companies blew their trumpets, smashed the jars. Grasping, they had in their hands torches, picking up torches in their hands. What happened is now is the time when they needed to go fight the Midianites. Gideon was one of those ones that he was already afraid to begin with. First of all, you see me out here, and I have never fought a day in my life. I'm the least of my father's camp. I'm the least of the people in our tribe, and you're going to tell me I need to go and fight somebody? I'm the warrior. You call me a valiant soldier. Read Judges chapter 7. It's a really good story, because what happens is we are like Gideon just a little bit. We feel inadequate, so when God gives us an instruction, we need a sign.
Right.
That's good, Chief. That's good.
We don't just obey God. We need God to say, well, God, if this is your will, I need you to do this. When I go to church, I want Sister so-and-so to say hello. And I want that to be the first person that say hello to me. That's going to be the sign that God, you speaking to me. The reason why we have to get a sign is because we're not talking to God enough to know his voice.
Jesus.
So we don't know what God would really say because we don't hear him saying nothing. When you get to a point where you have a constant communication with God, you don't need nobody to confirm the voice that God gives. Another sign because I commune with God. Watch this.
Yes, sir.
Watch this. I remember being in a crowd of people and Zion started to cry. And we was in a crowd of people and my wife said, that's our baby crying. And I said, it sure enough is. And God spoke to me then, out of all the babies crying, we know which one is ours. Because we have a constant communication. We're like this. So if I hear you, I hear you. I could be in a big building with 1,000 people and I know when my wife walked in.
My God.
Yes, sir.
Where's she at?
My God.
Where's she at? She here. So I remember being at work. She came. She worked with us for a couple months. She's so spoiled. She did get a job for a couple months, y'all. That's improvement, Devon. That's improvement. 4 months. 4 months. Thank you, baby. But I remember being on my side of the building and my back would be turned and I can feel when she was walking up and I just turned around, hey baby, because I just knew when she was coming because we had that type of relationship. Some of us don't even know when God walked in the room. Because you don't have that type of relationship with him. See, some of y'all think y'all gotta see something to know he's there. But I just need to be sitting in the room and I can feel when God just walked in. I can feel the power step into a room. Matter of fact, it can be a boring service and I still feel him when he's walking in the midst of his people. And then I know Sometimes I be in my car driving and I can feel when God just entered in the car because I will go, how about Sunday? And my wife will look at me crazy like, you all right? But see, when you, I'm sorry, bro. This is where we get that from, that quickening. Because we really don't understand what just happened, but all we know is that all of a sudden we feel just a little bit different.